everyone. Welcome back to Married with Wrestling.
It's been a minute.
So long, I forgot our name.
With the holidays and illnesses. I had pneumonia over Christmas, and before that, you had something going on. We never figured out what it was. But yeah, that's the fun with the weather, is it brings illness and sickness and all that fun jazz. And a lot's happened since the last time that we've talked to you guys, but we're just going to talk about the most recent stuff that's going on, because Raw debuts on Netflix tomorrow. So WWE is definitely excited for that. They have pimped the shit out of it.
Before we do that, let's introduce ourselves.
Okay.
I'm Susan. You're Chris. You jumped right in there.
I did.
Yes.
So the Raw on Netflix card is stacked. And I love when WWE pulls this shit, because what they do, they're going to stack this card and make it look like the mother of all cards, and then Raw won't look like this again.
Yeah.
Like, we'll go back to, Karrion Kross versus The Miz and all of that. Like, no offense to those guys.
Well, they're working together, aren't they?
They are, but I mean, they're eventually going to fall apart, because Miz is trying to get out of it. Miz will eventually be murdered. But the Raw Netflix card, I'll give WWE credit. It does look good. It's being main evented by CM Punk and Seth Rollins instead of Roman and Solo, which I'm still surprised at. But that kind of makes me wonder, is that more a reflection of Roman and Solo not having a definitive conclusion, and this is going to go to Mania? I keep hearing that The Rock might show up as a result of this match. I kind of think if The Rock was going to show up, this would main event.
See, I took it as just Punk got hurt and wasn't able to do his main event WrestleMania match. This was his moment to shine. I didn't read too much into it. That's what I took this as. But I feel like I don't read as much into things as you and other wrestling fans do.
Maybe not. Maybe not.
I don't feel like I do.
I don't know. But the matches we've got announced so far, we've got Punk and Rollins. We've got Roman and Solo in Tribal Combat for the Ulafala.
Let me just say, though. I do like Solo. I like their feud. But grown men are fighting over a damn necklace. Like a necklace you get in, what is it? I don't even know what it is.
I mean,
Ulafala
a big piece of Punk and McIntyre's feud was over a friendship bracelet.
I thought that was funny, too.
Yeah.
A friendship bracelet.
I mean, if you think about it, wrestling is all about jewelry. Like, Kevin Owens is running around right now with a belt that's not his, and we're fighting over that.
That's why it's so funny that the men that watch and love this, you don't realize that you're watching. It's literally a soap opera geared towards men.
That's what we always called it growing up.
Yeah, but I'd like to say that to hardcore wrestling fans that would never admit that you're watching a soap opera, bro. No matter how you twist it, it's a soap opera, bro.
It is, with betrayals and backstabbings and...
I mean, people are murdered. People are... it's a soap opera on steroids.
Hey, the D'Angelo family only allegedly murdered people. And Pretty Deadly's been seen since then. So I think they're off the hook. Now, Two Dimes, on the other hand, I can't say. But, no, essentially wrestling boils down to fighting for jewelry. Fighting for big, shiny belts with diamonds and everything else.
Yeah, so no man should ever make fun of a woman for wanting jewelry.
Okay.
That's what this boils down to.
Okay.
I'm in my feminist era today.
Oh, man. I might have kickstarted that before the show.
You did.
That's not a debate we'll share here. But anyway, Punk, Rollins, Roman, and Solo. Jey Uso and Drew McIntyre, who I think have wrestled several times, but it's fine. They'll do it again. Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley for the 800th time. I am ready for this feud to end. I am ready for these two. I want these two to separate and go to different shows.
Yeah.
I want them, once they're done, I want them
take the Terror Twins
apart.
and move them to a different show.
I agree.
Her and Damian Priest, they can stay together if they want to keep doing their Terror Twins thing. But I don't know if they've been doing the Terror Twins thing.
They haven't, because Rhea's been focused on Liv.
That's right.
But Finn keeps bringing Priest back in.
So let's just get them away from the Judgment Day.
Yeah. Now, one strike I do have against the Raw on Netflix it's going to be 3 hours, because SmackDown's now 3 hours, which we learned on Friday during SmackDown.
I was so annoyed. I don't have time for all these 3-hour shows, everybody. I don't have time for this.
But anyway, this is Raw on Netflix. Like, it's a big deal. Your world champion has no feud. Gunther is feuding with no one right now.
Well, I think Netflix is more focused on CM Punk's, the Roman Reigns of the bunch. They're not really focused on Gunther.
Yeah, that's interesting, because Braun's not defending the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, well, you can clearly tell who Netflix is favoring.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because half the people on that show, they're not even on that show. So, like...
Roman and Solo aren't, but everybody else is. It's been announced so far.
Always point me wrong?
Well, it seems like Drew McIntyre is heading to SmackDown.
Why must you always say that?
I'm not! Drew McIntyre is heading to SmackDown, so that would be 3 of the 8, so almost half. But those are the big matches that are announced for Raw on Netflix. It should be a fun show. I think it's interesting. They're still selling tickets. Like, it would be really funny if they were touting their sellouts all year and the show didn't sell out. It'd just be kind of funny.
It could be that, but then I was also thinking WWE also has a habit of adding last-minute seats.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
They
They might have
more.
sold a capacity and then they're going with a different setup to fit more seats. That might be the case, like they do in international shows.
They have done that sometimes.
That's possible. I will say that the little Intuit Dome that Netflix, or the Raw Netflix is going to be at, it looks cool on the outside. It's a cool looking building.
Yeah.
We're building some stuff for the Rumble. So far we have Cody and Kevin Owens in the ladder match for the Winged Eagle and the regular Undisputed WWE Championship. That'll be fun. This feud, I've had fun with this feud. I love when Kevin Owens goes unhinged.
Of course you're having fun. It's Cody Rhodes involved.
But it's not Cody. The reason I'm having...
Cody Rhodes could literally, like, shit something so ridiculous and you'd be like, this is great!
If you'd let me finish, Cody's just being Cody. The fun part of this feud is the unhingedness of Kevin Owens.
But would you still love it as much if your beloved Cody Rhodes wasn't it?
Yes, because I love heel Kevin Owens.
Bullshit!
I love unhinged heel Kevin Owens.
That. The only reason why you like it as much as Cody's involved.
No, I think Owens is killing it. Dude.
That may be so, but
he rolled
Cody
up
Rhodes in it.
He rolled up the car window on Cole. That's one of the funniest things I've seen him do in years.
You know what? I'll take your word for it. Don't believe it, but I'll take your word for it. Because I know how much you're obsessed with Cody Rhodes.
Dude.
He walks out and you start like...
Kevin Owens is just out there committing murders and everything else.
Yeah.
Breaking people's necks with banned moves that I see AEW do every week.
I know, it's so funny. It is kind of comical how, like, Cody is not clear to wrestle because he took a move that he took 1,000,000 times in AEW, and it's like, Cody, I don't believe this for one shit. You had a broken titty, and you wrestle. So, like, I don't understand.
Now, here's what's funny, is they talk about the banned move, and then they show a tease package for who I assume is Penta, whose finisher is the move that killed Cody. Like WWE, you're good. You're good right now, but sometimes you're still ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they also, I think, run under the assumption that anybody that's watching WWE only watches them.
Right. I forgot they're elitist a little bit like that.
Yeah, they can be. I think that's kind of going away because we're mentioning more promotion. There's only one promotion we don't mention.
They do not mention AEW, and it's like
or Ring of Honor.
Come on, WWE, you are killing them. Mm-hmm. What is it going to do to mention them? Do you think they're going to get like millions of viewers?
They,
come on.
They do love to hint at them. Like Rollins hinted at them during his promo with Punk.
But it's like, come on, just come right out and say their name. Like AEW says your name, everybody says your name. You're just being a little baby that's too petty to say a name. Like, it's time to grow up. There are other wrestling promotions. I am so sorry to tell you this. They might compete with you. Mm-hmm. That's okay, WWE. You don't have to, like, bury them.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Yeah, and competition's good for the wrestlers. It's good for the fans. Like, wrestling's its best when there's a good competitor. Like,
yes.
Like, look at how WWE has stepped up. I mean, granted, Vince going away helped a lot with that because Triple H was already cooking in NXT before AEW was even a concept.
Yeah.
But, like, now it's kind of falling to AEW, where everybody's like, okay, WWE's doing fine, AEW, you need to do better.
Yeah.
And they show signs of doing better. They do.
But that's my point. So, like, WWE, you don't have to keep taking shots. Mm-hmm. You know they're kind of in a, I guess, would you say struggling time right now, and you're thriving. Why do you have to keep, like, that's like a kind of shot that I feel like people take whenever, like, it just rubs me the wrong way. Mm-hmm. It's like this, like, super powerful person coming in and taking shots at somebody that's barely thriving. Mm-hmm. And then you're, like, just taking shots. It's like, what's the purpose? What are you getting out of this other than being a bully and just trying to get rid of the competition? That's what bugs me about it. Mm-hmm. It's just play well with others, you big babies.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. You got me all fired up for this thing, so everything is an issue to me today. So, like, everything I'm having an issue with. So, it's Chris's fault.
Okay. Well, speaking of AEW, let's switch gears. Let's talk about Worlds End, the pay-per-view that they just had, because it's the shortest pay-per-view they've done in a while, because it was done by 11:30.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Okay, so AEW had Worlds End, the weekend before New Year's. It was a good show. There's some really good matches on there. Mariah May beat Thunder Rosa in a Tijuana street fight. That was probably, honestly, that might have been the weakest match. That's the one I remember the least about. Yeah,
I remember thinking I was expecting more. Because I remember Thunder Rosa getting super bloody and stuff. And
yeah.
I was a little disappointed in that one. And I don't remember much of the match itself.
Yeah, and honestly, I think it definitely kind of got overshadowed because Mercedes and Chris Statlander put on, like, for an AEW women's match, felt like an eternity, but not in the way of a bad way. Like, it felt like
it was booked like a man's match.
It was booked like a men's AEW match. And it was really good. And let Chris Statlander chase Mariah May now.
She can make anybody look amazing.
Yeah.
Chris Statlander.
Chris Statlander's kind of emerging as kind of the MVP of the women's division.
But yeah, you wouldn't know because she doesn't really. She's just kind of there. She
is. And I think that's what's frustrating is AEW has a lot of women that are really, really good. They just don't get the chance to showcase it as much as the men do. We know how good Will Ospreay is. I don't need a 25-minute pay-per-view match, in this case 2 of them, to show me how good he is. Yeah. You know, I'd like to see more from Jamie Hayter, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander, those wrestlers. I know how good Will Ospreay is. I know how good most of the men are.
Yeah.
Because they get 20-minute Dynamite matches to show it. That's not to take anything away from Will Ospreay. He's just the first person I thought of.
Well, yeah, we can take a little bit away from him. Just the fact that we see him so much, we can take away from him some. We don't have to see him that much.
I mean, speaking of Will Ospreay, so Okada retained his Continental Championship, which I kind of figured would happen. But we had Will Ospreay beat Kyle Fletcher to get to the finals, and we had Ricochet lose to Okada, so we ended up in the finals. So everybody, it was fun to watch the crowd realize slowly over time, they were like, oh my god, we're getting an Ospreay-Okada match, and we didn't even realize we were going to be getting that.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, Kyle Fletcher killed Will Ospreay. Like, Will Ospreay's story the whole night was he should not go out there. He was a bloody mess. He was acting confused. Like, it wasn't... But it was different, and, like, you could tell he was playing it up. It wasn't like the Bryan Danielson convulsions where everybody's like, that's a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But he went out there, he killed it with Kyle Fletcher, he killed it with Okada. I tell you, the thing that came out of World's End that's most interesting, and they actually followed up with on Dynamite, is I was one of those people that doubted Ricochet going to AEW because he was a pretty featured staple on WWE.
Yeah, and he was always boring.
But I'm intrigued by heel psychotic Ricochet.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm pretty intrigued.
I've never seen this man have this much personality.
Yeah, he attacked Swerve with scissors on Dynamite. Gold scissors. Like, and I love that this is all stemmed from the fact that the crowd essentially turned on him.
Because they threw toilet paper.
They couldn't do toilet paper. They called him Baldy. Like the crowd just turned on him, and
Swerve had a whole bunch of fans. He gave out toilet paper to fans, so they all threw toilet paper on him.
And to Ricochet's credit, Ricochet did what Cody couldn't do in AEW. He leaned into the reaction and turned it into a heel turn, and became infinitely more interesting.
Yeah.
So kudos to Ricochet. I'm interested to see where it goes. It was a good choice to wear a white shirt on Dynamite, so it got all bloody. Like, I'm interested. I've never seen. We've watched Ricochet for years in WWE, and he was never.
Well, I wonder if this was more because WWE children based, so they tend to tap down people, like water them down a little bit to where they're not as intense and I guess violent since they can't do certain moves. So like. We've never seen Ricochet as he was whenever he was in Lucha Underground. I don't remember what he was called in Lucha Underground. Puma. We never saw him like that. So I wonder if this is what he was like then, because in Lucha Underground, things got wild.
Maybe. But if Ricochet's going to get violent, we know from the Hangman feud, Swerve's not afraid to get violent. So
it might be too much for me.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. I like blood. I really love when women bleed, because it's like... F you, Deborah, that thinks women can't do things. I love it. And we've talked to wrestlers where I've been like, I love when women bleed, and they're like, me too. So even female wrestlers understand my point of view, okay? But I just love whenever, I love whenever women bleed, but not an excessive amount. And the men in AEW bleed an excessive amount often. And it's like, why can't we just have like a normal amount of bleeding? Because sometimes the amount that those fools bleed doesn't even make sense based on what has happened to them. So can we at least make it make sense why they're bleeding? Can we at least have them hit the same body part that they're not bleeding from? Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So sometimes the blood's a little too much for me. Because it doesn't make sense why they're bleeding where they're bleeding from.
Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah. I mean, Swerve made sense because he took scissors to the forehead. That made sense.
Yes.
That made sense.
But if you hit your elbow on something and then I come back and see you bladed your forehead, I'm like, what? And you know that we've seen it happen because I always point it out. So it's like, what happened between this and this time that now you have a gash on your forehead?
Yeah.
So AEW sometimes gets a little carried away with the bleeding.
Yeah. Also, World's End had MJF and Adam Cole, which honestly was another match I kind of expected more from. MJF won, but Adam Cole got reunited with Kyle O'Reilly, so I guess the conglomeration's done. I guess Mark Briscoe's faction's dissolved. Kyle O'Reilly's back with the Undisputed Kingdom. Orange Cassidy's...
Yeah, AEW has this thing of not telling us when or why factions are ending. They just happen, and we're like, okay. So we just act like they never existed.
Yeah, because this could have been solved easily by, like, you know, Mark Briscoe could have given a speech about, like, you know... Because Kyle O'Reilly's whole thing was he was entranced with Mark Briscoe's speeches.
Yeah.
Kyle O'Reilly could have joined back with Adam Cole because of a speech about friendship that Mark Briscoe gave. Yeah. Or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, and maybe, you know, we see Kyle in the background kind of think about it as Mark Briscoe's talking about friendship.
Yeah.
And then,
like, that could have been like a 10-minute, if that thing, AEW. You could have made time.
You could have done it in 5.
Exactly.
You could have done it in 5.
Cut down 5 minutes from your 2 matches from Ospreay and at least tell that story.
Yeah. Plus, you know, anything to get more Mark Briscoe on my TV, I'm fine with.
Yeah.
Because that dude's a hoot.
I just feel like Tony Khan and AEW people need to go to... I know this is rich coming from me because I don't know storytelling. But maybe they should go to a storytelling school or something.
Storytelling school.
Just saying.
I don't know if that's a thing.
I feel like you were nervous if I was going to say that because you went, but
I wasn't sure where you were going with that.
But, like, maybe they should get some more help on storytelling because they suck.
Yeah,
I don't remember their stories. How many times do you have to... I have to be like, this doesn't make any sense. You're like, there's a story. But I never remember AEW stories.
Well, I think part of what happened... We make fun of WWE for their recaps, but... It does keep the story fresh in your mind when they do it.
True.
So, I mean, like... So I kind of have to retract some of the making fun that I did.
But still, they can cut back on those recaps.
Oh, they could. They could. I don't need to see Roman and Solo 3 times in a 2-hour show.
Yes, like, we get it.
Yeah. Yeah, we understand. One single video package will suffice.
Yeah.
But going back to AEW and World's End, all the Continental Championship matches were good. Takeshita and Hobbs. I've been a Powerhouse Hobbs fan for a long time. That's the best match I've ever seen Powerhouse Hobbs have. But I think it's another one of those cases where Takeshita can wrestle anybody, and it looks great.
Hobbs is good, though, too.
Hobbs is great, but him wrestling somebody on the level of Takeshita brought him up another level.
Agreed, yeah.
Like, that was a fantastic... That was actually, as a Powerhouse Hobbs and Takeshita fan, I actually looked at this match, and I was like, it'll probably be alright. No, it was freaking excellent. It was great. Takeshita retained. No, it was great. It was a treat. It was a downright treat to watch that. And then we had Mercedes and Statlander, which, like I said, was booked like a men's match in an epic way, and both women showed out. I've talked about before how I kind of thought Mercedes lost a step when she came to AEW. That Statlander match, she might have found it.
And did she? Because she was like top matches and ESPN shit.
Yeah, I
didn't realize that was going to happen.
A few of them were in Japan.
That's true.
And I think we've learned that Mercedes is fine, but she's great when she has a great dance partner.
I agree. She was like that in WWE too.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. She
her and Bailey are like that.
Yeah. If they have a good dance partner, they're typically pretty good. Yeah. I put Becky Lynch in that category too.
I agree. She's gotten better, I think, since she had the baby.
You wanted a more erotic.
I did, baby. How does she say it?
Babe.
Since she had the babe. Mm-hmm. God, I love Schitt's Creek.
And then the main event was the 4-way between Orange Cassidy, Jon Moxley, Hangman, and Jay White.
It was chaos.
It was.
Sometimes I don't do well with chaos matches because I can't. As you believe, I think I have ADHD, and I cannot keep up with. If there's so much chaos, I can't keep up. I get anxious. I don't know where to look, and then I always miss something because I'm not looking at the right place. The cameras always miss something in AEW. Like, it's chaos, and I don't like it.
Yeah, there was some fun stuff with that. I think my favorite moment though was when Jay White was just dishing out Blade Runners and Marina Shafir was not spared. And of course, we get to Dynamite, and Moxley's cutting one of his pacing promos, but he's like pacing back and forth. He shouts with Marina Shafir, "This woman took a bullet!" And all I could just think of just Jay White being like, "No, fuck you, bam!"
She deserved it though.
Yeah,
she's always getting into stuff.
Yeah, it's the first kind of level of comeuppance we've seen her get.
Good. And I don't care that it was a guy. I like intergender wrestling. Sue me.
And I love the fact that anytime Moxley's in a match where there's like stakes like this, that Christian Cage is just in the wings with his damn clipboard. It's all beat to hell.
Yeah. Almost bit 90-degree angle. Yeah. Okay, that's dramatic. But
I love the fact that they gave this thing to Christian because it's so great that he has it. And I cannot wait for somebody to finally...
His whole crew. I really hope that Luchasaurus is doing better.
Yeah.
And he is missed in that crew. But that crew, though, they are just so good at feeding off of each other.
They are.
They are so good. You've got Mother Wayne, you've got Nick Wayne, you've got, oh my god, well, I can just think of Penelope Ford. All I could think of was his wife's name. You've got Kip Sabian. So, like, I'm so happy that Kip Sabian's getting TV time because he's such a nice person that he deserves it. Like, fun fact, I have the same name as his mother.
Yeah. But no, that match was fun, and Christian just kind of being in the wings, and then Hook being there to screw it up for him every time has been fun as well. Yeah. But I can't wait for somebody to finally dethrone Moxley just for Christian Cage to go in there and
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
And we had a return, actually, at the end of World's End. He's not Adam Copeland anymore. Now he's Cope. Rated R Superstar Cope.
Cope.
He's back, and it's fun because like he squared off with Moxley, and then when you start doing the math, you're like, oh, they probably faced off in WWE. No, Cope retired in 11. Moxley got to WWE at 12. Cope came back in 2020. Mox was gone by 2019. So these two have never crossed paths.
And I saw the cutest video I told you about it, of a police officer that was doing like security for the show or for the pay-per-view. I was like, I want to say premium live event for the pay-per-view, which is funny. I never call them premium live events.
No,
but anyway, he heard Cope, so weird to say, his music come on, and somebody got on camera, okay? This police officer gets so excited, he takes off running towards, like, closer to the ring. His arms are up in the air, he's yelling, he's, like, celebrating. This police officer got so excited to see Cope come back. Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was like, Edge is back! And stuff, but he was, like, running up there to see him. It was so funny.
It was. And it actually...
Have you seen that video?
No, you told me about it.
Yes.
But no, what's cool is he came back, so it seems like he's the next feud with Moxley, which is really fun because Christian's like, wait a minute. Like, so we're tapping back into that.
I wonder whenever we're going to come back around to those two.
I know. I still think Adam Copeland's best moment in AEW is when Christian Cage hugged him and just said,
"Go F yourself."
Yes.
I just love Christian Cage.
Like, I will be sitting, I'll be sitting in my office and just think back to that moment and giggle to myself.
I just like, if Christian Cage is on my screen, I am happy.
He's such a treat. I know
he's going to say something so borderline offensive that I'm going to... So borderline too much offensive that I'm going to eat that shit up. So, like, I like whenever people, like, push the boundaries of being too offensive, but aren't too offensive. I like whenever you're able to walk that fine line perfectly. Yeah. And I feel like Christian has never failed me on that.
Like if you think about it, look at Christian's crew. Christian's crew is formed because he spent weeks making fun of Nick Wayne's dead dad. And now not only is Nick Wayne calling him dad, but he's walking around with Nick Wayne's mom. Like...
And the only reason why Kip Sabian's around is because his dad died, and he wanted to get with Christian because of that, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't that what happened?
Something like that,
There's something about his dad dying. So remember, Christian kept talking about him at first to make fun of him.
Yeah.
But Kip Sabian would not leave. So...
It's just...
I mean, I get it. I would be the same way if I was in the same room as Christian. I would always just be creeping behind him, wanting to be his friend.
Yeah.
I wouldn't care what he said to me.
And
I was going to be his friend.
It's so funny because... Growing up, I remember people saying, like, WWE clearly preferred Edge, but Christian was where the fun was at.
Yeah.
And apparently, I didn't watch TNA growing up, and apparently that's where he kind of showed that off. Yeah. And I really feel like I missed out. Like, watching Christian Cage now, I feel like I missed out. Yeah. I still like Cope, but Christian Cage is such a treat.
I think I like Christian Cage more than Cope.
I think I do too. I like Cope.
Yes.
But Christian
just knows what to say to make me love him. Yes, make fun of dead parents. Yes. And I think I love it because, like, I mean, as you know, I do have a dead parent. So it makes it, I can joke about it. I can laugh about it. I can laugh with it. It's not this sad thing for me when he does that. And I love it. So...
So would you say that Christian Cage is kind of therapeutic for you?
Yeah, tell me these things, Christian. You're my therapy.
Well, if he goes back to Steel City Con and we meet him, the first thing I'll say is, "Hey, Christian, her mom's dead."
Give me my therapy. Yes.
Maybe he'll adopt you.
That would be great. Sorry, Dad. I'm going to go with Christian. Christian Cage. You can call me later, Father.
Oh, my.
You can take care of my dad and sister. I'm going with Christian Cage.
Oh, man. Well, I think that covers everything we wanted to talk about today.
No.
What?
We did not touch on Chelsea Green.
Okay, all right. Let's touch on Chelsea Green then. Go. Chelsea Green.
I just want to say that she's champ.
And it was the right decision.
Hell yeah, it was.
Yeah.
I love Chelsea Green.
I'm fine that we sacrificed money. Speaking of Money in the Bank, we have something else we got to talk about.
Well, I'm talking about Chelsea Green right now.
Okay.
I have wanted Chelsea... Don't start your shit. Okay. I have wanted Chelsea... How long have I loved Chelsea Green?
Since you first laid eyes on her, pretty much.
I have loved her for years and years. And and how much have I been like, man, I don't feel like she gets recognition. Like, she doesn't get credit. She's so funny. Like, she's so funny. So I am so happy that she is where she is right now. Dressing up as the Statue of Liberty, being on Miss America, even though she's Canadian. Like... And
let's talk about how much the crowd was behind her when she won.
Yes.
Like...
Good for her. She's just so funny. Like, if you go onto her Instagram, she's always interacting with fans, it seems like, in these, like, Chelsea Green ways. Like, she dressed up in a costume. I mean, all she had on was, like, glasses and a mustache or something like that. And she was going around asking about what fans thought of Chelsea Green. And it was just so funny to see how she interacted with them. And I don't know. I just love Chelsea Green so much. I want to meet her.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to whenever we did that NXT live show when she was there, but of course she wasn't at the live show. Do you remember that? I was so bummed.
Yeah, that was years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. NXT, go back on the road and come back to Pittsburgh and stage AE. Those are some of the funnest shows we've been to.
Yes, they're so fun.
They're fun. We watched Ricochet run and dive off a stage. It was great.
I'll never forget. I had the perfect opportunity whenever Rhea Ripley was, I know I've told this story so many times on here, but she was standing in front of me and she just stopped and looked at me, and I looked at her, and she stood there for like a good 30 seconds just waiting for me to get a picture of her. I froze, because she is so scary in real life. I just had my camera up, and I was just like, because she is so scary and big and muscular in real life. Isn't she? And that was NXT, Rhea Ripley.
Yeah.
She scared me. But she tried. She gave me a good 30 seconds before she jumped down. She just stood there. We had an awkward stare down. And I froze.
Yeah, I hope NXT comes back to Pittsburgh, because we'll absolutely go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there's not much to talk about with NXT. They have New Year's Evil coming up.
Yeah, but it's still my favorite. NXT is my favorite show consistently every single week. That's the one show, because we don't always we don't watch the shows when they air. So, like, NXT is always that one show. I'm always like, NXT tonight? It's the one show I look forward to watching. There's
a lot of people on there you like, too.
Yeah, I love NXT. It's my favorite. I just like the more experimental. I like goofy wrestling. And NXT tends to try things out more, and I like that. Some things I'm like, no, that was dumb. But there are some things I'm like, this is great. Yeah. So, I just love NXT.
It is. It's a fun little experimental ground.
And it's nice to see the talent grow in NXT. I like that.
Yeah.
Like, you watch somebody premiere, like, have their first match, and you can see them grow. Like, Ren Sinclair. Yeah. Like, it's nice to see the wrestlers grow in NXT. I think that's why I love it so much.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
The last thing I want to touch on is on the 3-hour SmackDown, we did have something significant happen, and they didn't do it in the main event, so it was kind of a swerve where it happened. But if you watch SmackDown, you know we are officially in Tiffy time.
Tiffy time!
And the way it was executed was great. Yeah. Because Tiffany was gone all night. And I told you, I was
Jax kept wondering where she was.
Yeah, and I told you, I said, I don't think she'll cash in because this isn't the main event.
Yeah, and in my head I was like, but why is she missing? And why do they keep mentioning that she's missing? Yeah. So
then she showed up in the match and she helped Nia win. And everybody thought
she ran out with the ref at first.
She did. She ran out with the ref, and it was fun. The crowd went on a roller coaster for this, and I kind of did on my couch as well.
You did. You got back on your phone.
I was on my phone, and I heard it's Tiffy time, and she came out, and I was like, "Here comes the tease." And I looked up, and I saw her running with a ref, and I put my phone down. I was like, "Shit, here we go." And she gets out there, and she's like, "I want to cash in," and then she dumps the ref, and I'm like, "No, why?"
She looks in the ring, changes her mind, and just shoves the ring over.
Just shoves the ref over into the timekeeper's area. Whacks Naomi. Nia wins. So we're thinking, well, that was a fun tease. She gets
in the ring with them.
Yeah, she gets in the ring with them. Yep, Nia's up on the ring celebrating. Whack with the briefcase and Nia's back, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Did she take out...
She dumped Candice out of the ring, so Candice was gone. Bianca Belair goes in and hits a KOD on Nia Jax. So Tiffany literally grabs her, almost grabbing her wig off her head.
Because she's like holding her wig in place.
She pulls Bianca out.
She snatched her wig off.
She pulled Bianca out of the ring, threw her into the announcer's area. Corey Graves is losing his mind. And Michael Cole's just there like, can't believe what's going on.
At this point, you've thrown your phone down again because I'm like, babe! Yeah. And then you throw your phone down again.
She grabs the ref that she threw over the timekeeper's area. She's like, I'm ready now. Let's go. So then she goes in, she hits her moonsault perfectly like she always does. Yeah. And she's champ now. And the crowd went freaking electric.
It was a roller
for it.
coaster of ups and downs.
It was, because I was like, oh man, we're going to over tease this. And then
you started to get mad.
I was like, oh, that was a good time to do it. And then they did it anyway. And I was like, this is great. This is great. We've cashed in this story now.
I always love whenever like wrestlers get their first title on the main roster, because you could tell she was like, she's holding back the tears. Like it was
Yeah, she was on the ramp holding
Yes.
the title, and you were like, she's gonna go backstage and cry.
Oh yeah. I wonder if we got that infamous Triple H and Tiffany Stratton picture.
I haven't seen it yet, but I'm sure it's out there.
Yeah, he always takes pictures of NXT people.
Yeah,
when they get their title.
And what's crazy, she's only been doing this for like 3 years.
I know.
She hasn't been doing this very long at all.
No, and she's that good.
She
I
is.
wish I was that good at something. I've only been doing it for a couple years, so I'm that good at it. I wish that was my life.
Yeah. She's naturally gifted with it.
Yeah.
She can talk,
she was
she
a
can
gymnast.
work. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. She comes from Minnesota.
So she already has good control of her body.
She also comes from Minnesota, home of Chad Gable, Brock Lesnar. They know how to grow wrestlers there.
Luke from Summer House. He's from Minnesota.
Does he wrestle?
No, but he's from
I don't care about him. But anyway, congratulations to Tiffany Stratton. It's well deserved. I can't wait to see her title reign. I feel like it's going to be a lot like Chelsea Green's, but in a Tiffy way rather than a Chelsea Green way.
Maybe like a mix between like Carmella and
maybe. Man, I miss.
Maybe not as annoying as Carmella, and annoying in a good way because I loved Carmella.
Yeah. And I love how Corey Graves still reps his wife, because Michael Cole was talking about how Tiffany Stratton was a certain number 5 to get her first main roster title by cashing in, and Corey Graves is like, you remember who the first was, right?
And he was like, I know one of those as well. I know another one of them.
Yeah.
And Michael Cole just like, Carmella.
Yeah.
I know Carmella.
Yeah.
But it was sweet because Corey Graves just like, I know another one.
Yeah, I love that Corey Graves will not let Carmella be forgotten.
Yeah.
Because Carmella shouldn't be forgotten.
No.
She's great. I miss Carmella. I wish Carmella would come back in some capacity.
She was so good at being annoying.
Yeah, I wish she would come back in some capacity as like a manager or something. Yeah. Like, man, imagine if we were in an alternate timeline where the Carmella and Chelsea Green team was able to last.
Right. I was so excited for that team. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm happy for Carmella. Mm-hmm. But I was so happy for that team when it started. I was like, this is perfection.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Chelsea Green and Piper Niven are great together.
They are. I think they're friends forever.
But I think Chelsea Green and Carmella would have been a whole nother level.
Yeah, but like Chelsea Green and Piper Niven, they just have like chemistry because
they do.
They've lived together before. They've been friends for years and years. So
yeah. I mean, if it can't be Carmella, Piper Niven's the way to go.
I mean, I didn't even just like Chelsea Green with Sonya Deville. Chelsea Green just is able to work with anybody. Yeah. Nick Aldis actually did this interview because he was talking about how like they've known each other for years. They kind of have this similar background with like the wrestling and stuff. Mm-hmm. And he actually said that Chelsea Green, he was like very proud of her because she. So this was an interview done out of character. She literally took what little she was given, like all the stupid gimmicks that she's been given, and he was like, she was able to work it in a way to where she's able to be where she is now. And he was like, and that is just a testament of how good she is at what she does. Yeah. And how determined she is. Yeah. Because he was like, she could have easily taken what she was given and, just done the bare minimum, but she took it and ran with it. Mm-hmm. And that's the reason why she's where she is today. Yeah. How determined she was. Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, it's fun, because I remember a friend of mine was like, they're wasting Chelsea Green. I was like, give it time. Mm-hmm. Give it time. Something good will happen. I thought it was going to be Money in the Bank. I'm glad I was wrong, because that worked out perfectly, because Tiffany was great for Money in the Bank, and Chelsea Green's a great first U.S. champ, because she's already calling herself the greatest U.S. champ of all time. She's the first one. Oh, she's also said that she's in her second year of being the champion, because she got it in 2024. It's now 2025, so it's her second year as the champion. Oh, my. Oh, my. Well, I think that's a good note to go out on. So, yeah, I mean, we were gone, but wrestling's been fun. And the Royal Rumble's coming up, so this is WWE's peak season we got coming up. And Cody's not going to win the Rumble, so I'm interested to see who's going to win it this year. Yeah. There's a lot of rumors. I've heard The Rock's going to win it. I've heard John Cena's going to win it. I've heard all this other stuff. I don't think it's going to be either one of them. I hope it's not either one of them. John Cena doesn't need a Rumble win for his farewell tour. I'm also excited for Cena's farewell tour, because he said that he's going to be full-time during this farewell tour. So I'm interested to see who he ends up wrestling and who we get to end up see him working with. Yeah.
I have no idea who his retirement match is going to be. I have no clue.
I don't know.
I heard a rumor that if Rock wasn't available at Mania, it was going to be Cody Rhodes. I feel like him and Randy Orton wrestled like 9,000 times. But they never wrestled at Mania, so that would be a good one to go out on. I hope Kurt Angle's retirement, I feel like, was kind of fudged up, and that's nothing against Baron Corbin. That's just bad booking by Vince.
But it's not. Did Vince want that, or did Kurt Angle want that?
Vince wanted that. I think Kurt Angle wanted Cena. I think.
Okay.
But Vince was all about pushing Baron Corbin, which Baron Corbin got some unfair hate for that, which wasn't fair to him. Baron Corbin was very good at what he did. It's kind of a shame he's not in wrestling.
I was going to say, it's kind of shitty that he got let go whenever... I always liked Baron Corbin. Never a favorite, but I liked him.
Yeah, he was another one that they would give him shit, and he would make it work. He could make it work in his own way.
Yeah.
I think the tag team with him and Braun Breaker was way too short. I wish they would have brought that show to the main roster.
He got so over with that.
Yeah, I think that was a Triple H misstep breaking those two up.
Yeah.
Because you could have run a really fun angle where Braun turned on him to get greedy for a title. You could have done something with that.
Yeah.
And you could have gotten Braun's singles run out of it and maybe given Braun a little bit more heat in the process.
Yeah.
Because honestly, I think Braun's supposed to be a heel, but the fans are just so behind him.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's fun as hell. I love Braun Breaker. It's.
I mean, we just watched a 20-minute video of his. That was his uncle we watched, right? And I could see Braun Breaker saying the stuff that his uncle said.
I forgot.
They sound alike.
I forgot.
They sound similar, so much
they
alike.
do. They do sound a lot alike.
How is that not his son? How is he not the son of him?
I don't know. Maybe it's an Eddie Guerrero, Rey Mysterio situation with Dom. Who knows? But no, I forgot how unhinged the Big Bad Booty Daddy was. I forgot. That was a fun video to go down memory lane with Scott Steiner. If you get a chance to watch it, I think the video is called 18 Minutes of Scott Steiner Being Unhinged. So if you grew up with Scott Steiner, it's a great trip down memory lane to just see how unhinged he was. It was a good time. If Braun Breaker becomes half that unhinged, it'll be great. But that's our show. We'll be back next week. WWE's still going to be building to the Rumble. AEW doesn't have another big show until Revolution on March 9th.
It's giving our big kind of rest.
Yeah. And AEW's starting to do stuff on Max. Let's get the pay-per-views over there. Let's do that.
We're not made of money.
No, and it's like, yeah, get the pay-per-views over on Max. It works well on Peacock. I think eventually the plans for WWE's pay-per-views to end up on Netflix, but I'm not sure. I don't think WWE's going to go back to the pay-per-view
On
model.
Max, though, you can go back and watch the archives of AEW, which I really want to go back and watch the very first pay-per-view and their very first Dynamite.
Yeah. I want to go back and rewatch
Do they have the dark episodes, or no?
That I don't know. You might still be able to find those on YouTube, actually.
Oh, that's true.
You might be able to still find those there. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see like who was there and what people were doing versus what they're doing now.
Yeah.
It would be a fun look back.
Because there are a lot of people we didn't know who they were. So there's a time it'd be nice to go back and be like, "Oh my God, they were there."
Yeah.
Oh wow, they were there.
It's kind of like when we went back and looked at the roster for the first All In and realized Damian Priest wrestled there.
Mysterious, yeah.
That's fun to do. That's if you like old wrestling, it's fun to go back and like look at some cards and be like, "Oh my God, that was that person."
Chelsea Green was in one of their first pay-per-views with AEW.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, a lot of and the internet, you can find any of this out there. So, even if you don't like modern wrestling, you could still find some old wrestling to go watch. So go find it, watch it. I still say that when wrestling's cooking, there's no other form of entertainment like it.
I agree.
There's nothing like it.
But when it's not cooking, it's kind of hard to get through.
It is, when it's not cooking, it's rough.
Yeah.
It's really rough when it's not cooking.
Yeah.
But luckily for us right now, it's definitely in a boom period.
WWE, yes.
Yeah. AEW could turn it around. I think they just need a couple good stories and some consistency, and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
I think
go to storytelling school.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, we will see you guys next week.
Later.